Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a great and eventful day. Well, it has been confirmed and announced that we have, it has been announced that McCarthy is no longer here. He is gone. And I think that we have a lot of things to pack through here. Now, the reason why is that I had months before of all this, I was praising McCarthy that he did surprise me on some of the things that he was doing as speaker for some of the things that he did in previous times. But there was always this thing in the back of my head of saying, is this guy right for the Republican people? Is he right, not for the Republican people, for the American people? And it seems that he's not. He went behind backroom deals, did all these things for the Democrats, and this is where we are. And this is the reason why I did not trust McCarthy to begin with, and this is the whole reason why we're even here. We're going to take a look at this video right now of what McCarthy has done, what he has said, and just the insane things that is giving us this issue. Like, it's just insane. Here's Matt Gaetz talking about the whole situation of why this is a problem and all this, and how we can fix this. Oh my God.
The Speaker did not just fail to remediate the breach of the agreement he made with us in January, he accelerated the instances of breach. Like, after I laid out the breach, he went and violated the 72-hour rule. After I laid out the breach, he violated the $100 million no amendment suspension rule. So he seems to be reverting to the very unfortunate muscle memory of Washington, D.C. that has put our nation atop a $33 trillion debt, that has led to $2 trillion annual deficits in our near future, and the rapid global de-dollarization of the economy. I mean, you look at the BRICS system, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're moving away from the dollar. And just in August, they added 6 new countries, including G20 economies in the Western Hemisphere and Gulf monarchies. Moreover, you saw U.S. News say that the number one economic trend of 2023 is de-dollarization globally. This worries me. You all get all worked up that there's going to be some uncomfortable, chaotic moment, that I'll feel pressure from conservatives or Democrats or whomever. I feel the judgment of history. I feel the weight of that. I worry that when the history books are written about this country going down, that my name is going to be on the board of directors here. And if this country's going down, and if we're losing the dollar, I am going down fighting. And I don't care if that means fighting Republicans, Democrats, the Uniparty, the leadership, the PACs, the lobbyists. I've had it. I've been here 7 years. We don't have a fucking budget. We haven't had one since the mid-90s. I am through with it. I apologize for using that word, but the only path forward here is to have single subject spending bills that can be reviewed, amended, considered, and I think that is the responsible way that our legislatures all over this country operate.
You know what? And I 100% agree with McCarthy here. We didn't get to $33 trillion in debt for no reason. We haven't had a budget, and if we did, things would be properly allocated. Like, things should have been properly allocated for the homeless people, for buildings and stuff like this, for new infrastructure and stuff like this. Instead, we spend it on pointless stuff that has no budget. And I may believe Matt Gaetz' biggest problem is that McCarthy went to ignore the Republicans and went directly to the Democrats. So, all we have here is that Kevin McCarthy is a Democrat in name. And I think I said this before. My apologies. I think I said this before in a long time ago in my videos, that he's a Democrat in name. And the fact of the matter is that we don't have anybody that we can trust. We can't trust this man, and I think Matt Gaetz is doing what is needed here to propel our country to be better, and not to lose our dollarization, right? We need to be able to stay up on front, right? And he is going back against what the Americans want. In fact, he's going so against what the Americans want. I'm going to show you a clip here of CNN literally saying that 39% of Americans say that it was going to be Democrats or the Biden administration that is going to cause the problem. So, without further ado, here's this.
It was a bit of a surprise to me, given, I think, what the conventional wisdom is. So there have been a number of polls on this. So who would you mainly blame for a government shutdown? Actually, the plurality blamed Joe Biden or the Democrats in Congress at 39%, the GOP in Congress at 33%, both equally at 22%. But in the 2 polls that I have seen, when you combine Biden and the congressional Democrats, more voters blame them than blame Republicans in Congress. And that is very different than what we've seen in prior shutdowns. So who is the public blame for prior shutdowns? Republicans in 95, 96, Republicans in 2013, and Republicans in 2018, 19. So this may be a shutdown that is quite different than that in terms of the public blame, because at least at this point, more Americans say they'll blame Biden and or the Democrats in Congress.
Yeah, for the government shutdown, they'll blame the actual Democrats. Which, by the way, McCarthy went to the Democrats to potentially have the government shut down, if anything. So, here's the thing, is that he didn't, he went to go do something, conspired with essentially the enemy, and now we have this issue. And I just can't deal with this, right? Here's a little small clip as well of Kevin McCarthy, or not Kevin McCarthy, but Matt Gaetz wanting to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker.
Does the gentleman from Florida now seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House.
The gentleman will state the form of his resolution.
Declaring the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives to be vacant. Resolved that the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives is hereby declared to be vacant.
So it doesn't seem that Matt Gaetz is fighting the good fight. He's trying to remove it. And here we have is that even the Democrats do not want McCarthy. They do not want him. They do not support him in any way. And this is something that that they're talking about here. So here is a clip of them not liking Kevin McCarthy. They're not going to vote for him. They don't want anything to do with him. And McCarthy is, going out and saying some of these things.
Congresswoman, is there a world in which you see the caucus that just met in there voting to help Speaker McCarthy?
I think we had a really great caucus meeting. It was extremely unified. We're standing behind our leader, Hakeem Jeffries. He is the person that should be Speaker of the House, and there is reason after reason to just let Republicans deal with their own problems. I mean, they can let them wallow in their pigsty of incompetence and inability to govern. They are destroying our institution.
But what does that mean? Does that mean voting present? Like, how is this going to play out?
We are not voting in any way that would help save Speaker McCarthy.
So either present or voting against him.
This does impact Democrats in a sense, right? I mean, you guys are trying to fund the government. You're trying to pass the Farm Bill. You're trying to pass
Democratic problem. As much as anybody out here might want to make it a Democratic problem, this is not a Democratic problem. This is a Republican problem. They supposedly have the majority. They should be able to pick their own speaker. Our speaker is Hakeem Jeffries. It always has been. It was for 15 rounds. It will continue to be.
So does that mean
here that just nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy?
Nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy. Nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy, and why should we? He has broken his commitment over and over again, and it's not just the deal with President Biden. It's not just the Ukraine funding, which apparently was also a deal, but then it wasn't a deal on, unless we secure the border. It's also going back to January 6th, and I think for a lot of us, we were here. It is still deeply emotional for us because it is about our country. It's about why we came to Congress. And Kevin McCarthy stood on the House floor and said one thing and then talked to Donald Trump and immediately did something else. He has supported the insurrectionist president that enabled January 6th to happen and tried to obstruct the peaceful transfer of power. So there are a lot of reasons to not trust Kevin McCarthy. You could probably go back before January 6th, but certainly January 6th was a really key example, and the most recent history of how he's governed as Speaker is another example.
Yeah, so even the Democrats don't like him, even though he went to them. Now, I'm going to show you some things because this video is going to go a little bit long, and we're going to talk about what's been going on here. So what we have here is that we have Kevin McCarthy removed as House Speaker. We're going to take a clip of this real quick to show what's really going on. Member of the House Representatives voted on Tuesday to oust Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The final tally showed 216 in favor of the motion to vacate, while 210 opposed. Now we have this. Earlier Tuesday, Representative Matt Gaetz stood and repeated his motion to vacate. Representative Tom Cole rose to offer the table to that motion. The 15-minute vote saw 2,008 Republicans vote in favor of McCarthy's leadership and 11 against. All Democrats were in favor of vacating. Following a 60-minute back and forth between those for and against vacating McCarthy's position, the final vote was taken. Gaetz was able to initiate proceedings on his own thanks to the inclusion of the Jefferson motion in the deal made when McCarthy accepted the speakership in January. Under the agreement, a single person was permitted to introduce a motion to remove McCarthy if he goes back on his word or policy agenda. In the months since, McCarthy has been criticized by members of his own party for decisions regarding the appropriation of funds to Ukraine, among other things. He recently drew ire from Gates and his crew for teaming up with Democrats to pass a 45-day stopgap resolution to keep the government running, despite there not being a properly passed continuing resolution. You don't know chaos until you've seen where this Congress and the Super Party is bringing us. The Florida congressman said in response to suggestions from reporters that removing the speaker would throw the House in disarray. Others, including Representative Major Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey, who disagree with Gates, indicate that they would support McCarthy. I agree with you, we need a serious change, Greene said, but there is no plan and no one capable of ever even stepping up. Last time Freedom Caucus threw out a speaker, we ended up with Paul Ryan, who did not support President Trump's agenda. Nothing can truly change until Trump is back in the White House. I understand that, but we have other issues. Prior to the vote, McCarthy admitted it was likely that he would be vacated, noting that if all Democrats sided against him, they would only need 5 Republican votes. So, yeah, it seems that he is possibly being vacated as we see, but this is still up in there. They could still vote for this. But McCarthy says he won't give Democrats anything in exchange for support as Speaker, which is weird considering that he went behind the back of Republicans and what have you and talked to the Democrats. So I don't see how this makes any bloody sense at all. He did do this. He did give support for. He did give Democrats a lot of things, and this is the reason why we have this Ukraine spending bill, which is going to make us go further into debt and cause other major issues. McCarthy is, as I said, a terrible, terrible speaker. He has lied. He has not supported the people, and even still, he has said that the reason why the government was shut down, etc., was because of the Democrats. The people just do not believe in the Democrats right now, and they do not believe in the Republicans. And this is something that I just can't stand Kevin McCarthy on. Now, what we have here is something a little bit different. All right, so what we'll have is that. This is Conor McCarthy explaining everything along with Matt Gaetz. So without further ado, here is this.
Deal made with Democrats. The only deal is to make one with McCarthy, because I'm not offering anything and won't offer anything. And by the way, if the Democrats want to own Kevin McCarthy, they can have it. Because one thing I'm at peace with is when we stand here a week from now, I won't own Kevin McCarthy anymore. He won't belong to me. So if the Democrats want to adopt him, they can adopt him.
Ed, do you expect to be able to keep the speakership at least for this next week?
Yes, I do. I go week to week. I was just on here last week and you thought all government was going to shut down. And I said, you know what, I'm an optimist and I put my money on myself. And I still do to this day.
Will you keep the speakership? And we just had Jay Clayton on. I know you know Jay, but yeah. Will you be able to keep it purely with votes from your caucus, or will you need help from the Democrats, whether some of them vote present or don't show up, or actually vote to keep you speaker? Will you need that?
Well, you're asking the question the wrong way.
All right. Ask it and then answer it.
Will I get removed because 4 or 5 Republicans join with all the Democrats? I mean, that's the question here. If 98% of the conference wants you to be speaker, but you create a Congress where 4 people can determine if they work with the other side, how strong is the continuity of your government itself? And think for one moment. Last week, we were hemorrhaging on whether we would shut down or not. I made a decision to take a risk to keep the government open. At the end of the day, if I am removed from speaker because I kept the troops from getting paid, they're able to be paid and the border agents able to be paid, that's a fight worth fighting for. I've always said I will fight for the American public, and that's exactly what I did, and I'll continue to do that. This is just confusing in the process, but I'm focused on making sure we get our votes.
He says it's not that. Do you take Tapper, I think, over the weekend said he had seen evidence that is what this is all about. Other people say it's about becoming Florida governor, but you think it's totally about this ethics investigation into
He knows exactly. He's been blaming me for an ethics complaint against him that happened in the last Congress. I have nothing to do with. He wants me to try to wipe that away. I'm not going to do that. That's illegal. And you know what? If some way I lose my job because I uphold the law, because I uphold the continuity of government, so be it. I'm just going to do what's right for the American people and keep working towards that.
Yes, and the American people do not trust the Democrats in this. And this is the only thing we're trying to understand here is. So you're siding with the Democrats that the American people don't believe in, and they're saying the 22% other is going to do it. So you were part of the Republicans, you were part of the other percent that was going to do this. So, again, you are a problem. The Union Party needs to be destroyed. Kevin McCarthy needs to be kicked out, and we need to get to an actual country to where we can have an actual legitimate spending bill. And as Matt Gaetz said, we need to have this. We need to protect our dollar. And if we don't protect our dollar, millions upon millions of Americans are going to suffer because of this, because of McCarthy's stupid actions. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Rock, star, share. As always, take care.